Advisor to the Minister of, sorry, Advisor to the Minister of Health and President of the NCD Commission, Honorable Dr. Leslie Ramsamy, Director of the Non-Communicable Diseases Program, Dr. Lachmi Lal, Coordinator of the Chronic Diseases Unit, Ministry of Health, Dr. Dinelli Dripal, CEO of the Guyana School of Agriculture, Mr. Gavin Ramnarayan and team, Save a Bee Foundation co-founder Ms. Asha Tilak, special invitees, members of the media, members of the Chronic Diseases Unit, our colleagues, and parents and children, a warm welcome and good morning to you all. Today, it brings me great joy to share with you one of the diverse ways the Ministry of Health is bringing EduHealth on board in collaboration with the Guyana School of Agriculture. This is with the launch of our annual Farm Day activity for diabetic children between the ages of 5 to 14. We believe that with adding these activities such as this, we can be able to better educate and bring awareness on board from an early age about nutrition and diseases, especially chronic illnesses such as diabetes. We also would like to continue in this path to achieving a one and healthy Guyana with many other diverse activities, with this being one of our first here. Through this activity, we aim to educate families and kids on local produce grown right here in Guyana and to give them the ease and accessibility that they can be able to be available to you, along with home-friendly nutritional dietary plans and refreshers on treatment plans that we will run with the kids later on during the course of this activity. We at the Ministry of Health Chronic Diseases Unit implore you to take a few seconds a day, if you can be able, to encourage your children to eat better, feel better, but most importantly, make a choice, a living choice to live a healthier, longer, and a longer life and to have fun with this Farm Day activity that we're bringing to you. We know in the past that we have other activities such as our Camp Day activities, but we're trying to reach at this stage with all the technological advances that we have, that we can be able to diversify these events, that you guys can be able to come out and learn and also have fun whilst doing so. With no further ado, thank you, and I introduce you to Dr. Lachmi Lal, who is the Director of the Non-Communicable Diseases, to make a few brief remarks. Thank you.
Advisor to the Minister of Health and Chair of the Presidential NCD Commission, Dr. Leslie Ramsamy, CEO of the Guyana School of Agriculture, our coordinator for the Chronic Diseases Unit, Dr. Dripal, parents, and most importantly, the guests of honors today are our type 1 diabetic patients. Today, it's one of the many activities that we have planned for particularly this group of patients that we cater to. As you know, the Ministry of Health, the Chronic Diseases Unit, has started for a very long time what's called the Sponsor the Child program, where we provide all of the testing, all of the medications that is needed for particularly this group of persons. And so to this activity here in the summer, it was planned particularly in the summer when the school is closed, not just for fun, like Dr. Ramsing said, but also to ensure that we are reinforcing the education that is needed for the management of type 1 diabetes, ensuring that our children, that we're watching how they're pulling up their insulin, how they're eating, and it's also to bring additional sensitization to type 1 diabetes. And for those parents out there who may know of other parents that are having children with type 1 diabetes and is not aware of the program with the ministry, to also bring the sensitization and to let them know that the Ministry of Health is here to support life as a type 1 diabetic. The Ministry of Health will also look through in the upcoming months to introduce new programs. One of those things is looking at continuous glucose monitoring, because we know how cumbersome it can be for children to have to test themselves 3 times a day. And so that is one of the new technologies that we're exploring, currently in the process of discussions and exploring if that is the best way forward for our children. And we're going to start with this small cohort of the type 1 diabetics and see how they manage well with those. Apart from that, with the Mount Sinai group, we've been looking to revise, and in fact, we have already started. We've launched new guidelines for the management of type 1 and type 2 diabetes and gestational diabetes. Those guidelines are going to be available very soon, and the medications are going to be available very soon. And we're revising the way we treat diabetes, and we're hoping that that's going to be able to bring better control for our populations living with diabetes. I want to use this opportunity to encourage parents, and I know how we've seen the experiences, we know how difficult it is to live to live the life of a type 1 diabetic. We know the kind of pressure that it puts on children. We know how they have to constantly watch what they eat, have to remember how to take their insulin. And we know that it will take a toll, but I need every parent to understand that the Ministry of Health is here to support that you don't feel that you're left on your own with your child that is type 1 diabetic and that there's no support. And so these little activities are just small activities in the way of helping to bring that kind of support and to let you know that you're not left alone in this fight against managing diabetes and living with type 1 diabetes. Yesterday we had the smaller children, the 5 to 11, and today it's for some of the bigger kids. And we're hoping that you're going to take full advantage of what the Guyana School of Agriculture has to offer. We also know that managing type 1 diabetes is not just testing and not just taking medication, but it's also eating properly. And that's one of the things that the Guyana School of Agriculture is going to touch on a lot today with the activities. So without keeping you any further, I welcome you to today's activity. We're hoping that it's going to be an annual activity. We're sorry that we couldn't have the camp, but we're still in a pandemic, even though it's not said out loud, and we don't want to have that prolonged interaction. So this is one of the best ways that we could still bring you back out and to have this activity together. So thank you and welcome, everyone.
We'll now have a few brief remarks from the CEO of Guyana School of Agriculture, Mr. Gavin Ramnarine.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Dr. Ramsamy, Dr. Ramsingh, Dr. Lal. Dr. Ramsamy was my old boss in agriculture, and he was also the chairman of GSA, so he's very familiar with everything here. I'd like to welcome particularly the students here to GSA. There's an old expression, you are what you eat. Every cell in everybody's body is made up. How does it get there? We eat food. Nutrition and agriculture and health are very, very closely linked. In a modern age with fast food and all these little bits and pieces coming along, it's easier to go and buy some KFC or something unhealthy. What we try and do here at GSA is to foster the connection so you make that mental link between what you put in your body, right, has a direct influence on everything about you, how you think, all your health. So we have farms here, which the students have gone around yesterday and today. So we cover all agricultural crops, as well as a livestock farm, and the kids always have fun with the little piglets, the cows, the milk, and all the other various animals. The Ministry of Agriculture is committed to health. Now, the thing about it is that we should try and eat local produce. The local produce is grown in better conditions. It's from here. It supports our uncles, brothers, sisters, family. We know what's in it. If you try and get the most organic, natural products, that's not processed. You'll see we'll have an opportunity to go and pick some of these fruits and vegetables. But all I would like to tell the members of the public, and I'd like to thank the Ministry of Health for having everyone here, is to keep thinking about diet, exercise, and you are what you eat, right? So if you see some of these foods, these processed foods that that's easy to buy, right? You wouldn't want to look at the list of ingredients. I don't even recognize half those things. And I don't want to put something in my body that I don't know, right? So next time, just look at the label of something, and it's kind of scary if you look up what's in these. If you go to the market, fresh produce, and that's what we try and do here at GSA with the students, fresh produce, and I'd like to thank everyone, and I hope you have a successful day. Ask as many questions as you want about how we grow everything, what it involves. So we have a very talented team here, and we're here at your disposal. So any question you want, and of course, you can feel free to come back whenever you want to check us out. All right, thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Gavin. Now we'll have our Honorable Dr. Leslie Ramsamy give the feature address for this program.
Thank you, Dr. Ramsang, Dr. Lakshmi Lal, Gavin, Mr. Ramnarayan, who's the CEO here, Dr. Paul, parents, all our other colleagues from the Ministry of Health, and more importantly, the children here today. Diabetes is a huge challenge, not just in our country, but in countries around the world. There are millions, hundreds of millions of people who are affected. And a large number of persons that die every year, about 38 million people die every year. And a good portion of that die because of diabetes. And whilst that's an important number, even more important are the number of people who live but live disabled lives. And that is into the hundreds of millions. So we are not dealing with something that is minor in terms of our development in Guyana, in terms of our development in this region and the world. Diabetes is one of the major challenges we have. And as time goes, science and scientists have given us more ways of fighting diabetes, successfully fighting diabetes. Guyana want to make sure that we use all of the technologies available. Sometimes our ambition is a little bit ahead of our capacity to do so. I noticed some of my colleagues have been discussing a special technology on stem cells. What I could say to you here today, the parents and the children, is that as soon as it is possible, Guyana today want to make sure that every single technology, every single new treatment, every single new technique we will utilize in Guyana. We do not want to be a country that is 10 years behind developed countries. We want to make sure that as soon as an effective intervention become available, that we are among those first countries that use it. That is a very ambitious statement. But you know, in 2001, that's much more years than many of the children here, than all the children here. When I spoke about using the pen insulin for our children, people thought that we were being too ambitious. But since then, our children have had access to an easier way of treating themselves with the insulin pen. We can and we must. So I wanted to start off by saying to every family with a member who must live with diabetes, whether it's type 1 or type 2, and particularly for the children, that Guyana will not allow resource constraint to delay the introduction of effective technology and effective treatment, whether it is for prevention or for the management of diabetes. With that said, I believe we presently have 79 children registered with type 1 diabetes in our country. And that may not represent all of the children, but it represents most of the children living with type 1 diabetes or with diabetes. We will ensure that our record system is able to identify every child in our country. Whilst it is commendable, the young ladies that are leading this program, they have continued to work hard to find the children and register them. The diabetes program believes that no child must be left behind. We must find everyone. So let me make a public appeal to our parents. If there is a child that is not presently registered within the diabetic registry that we maintain, ensure that you contact the nearest health center and let us have that child in our registry. And that should be an easy thing, because in this country, every community have access to a health post, a health center, or a hospital. We're not asking you to come to the Georgetown leaders. We're asking you in your own community. I suspect there are 1 or 2 children who are not on the register. And I want to appeal to Dr. Lal and her team. I understand why we couldn't have the camp. But it's beginning to sound to me more and more like an excuse. Don't worry, I still love them. We must have the camp. And remember, when this camp was introduced, I have witnesses here, witnesses in this room. When this camp was introduced, it was for the parents and the children and the staff. We started a program with the expert diabetic patient, both adult and children. I know some of these children. They make the adult expert patient look like a novice, because the children have done better at being expert patient. They are able to explain their treatment. They are able to explain the disease. We must return to the expert-patient strategy that we had. It's not that we have abandoned it, but we move forward with it with less fervor than we used to. We need to ensure that it happens. We have a new diabetes guideline that we are beginning to roll out in the country. It is not enough for the doctors and nurses to know the guideline, because diabetes is one of the diseases where the greater part of the intervention must be done by the patient and their families. And the number one therapeutic intervention is nutrition. Yes, we have insulin and we have other medicines that are important as part of the therapy. But the most critical therapeutic intervention is nutrition. The best medicine and the best therapeutic intervention cannot replace nutrition. They will fail if our nutrition is poor. So today's exercise of introducing you to the farm, we hope that some of you will be inspired by Mr. Ramnarayan and his staff to become farmers. It's a noble profession, and these days the way we practice it could also be a highly prosperous profession. But all of us should have a little kitchen garden at home. All of us. I know I live in Georgetown now, but when I go to my countryside family, I don't go to the market to buy my vegetables, I pick it up. So all you children, when you go to Mr. Ramnarayan's farm, pick your vegetables. Get a bag, take some home. I know they will give you some cereal and things that they make. But eating your own food that we grow, all of you have family, and that's not the right thing to do. So today's event is not, and they got to come up with something to do. I hope not. I'm a very nice person, right? They don't have reasons to be afraid. And Minister Anthony is just as nice. And so it's how we prepare them too. And there are recipes. So I'm hoping that the camp start back, but even without the camp, families, or the additional ones that we are missing, should be in a WhatsApp chat group. So we need to, if it was discontinued, we need to put it back in place. Over the last 8 years or so, there have been periods where supplies run out. We still have some of those that occur. I want to publicly here say to the families with children, this is a priority disease. And we have listed the medicine and supplies in our priority day. That goal has been reached. We did once, but we have returned with the team to make sure that those disruptions don't occur. So this morning I want to thank Dr. Lal and her team, Dr. Ram Singh and her team, because we do have the Caribbean's first, so that people could come and visit and see what we have. Very soon, the center and a teleophthalmology center is being established at the Lusignan Diabetic Sect. Visit the center. And I would appeal to Dr. Lal, Dr. Ram Singh and others to put a special team there. On that is that I believe that the children have a role to play. 2 weeks to work with the doctors and nurses, not that they will become doctors and nurses after that 1 week or 2 weeks, but they become more knowledgeable about 1 or 2 per year at one of our hospitals. But let our diabetic center be one of those places. There's no better way. When I became Minister of Health, well, it's a long time ago, I know, and for the young children, I had long hair. A long way. But I remember the children going on television and talking about diabetes, an active program. But as I was saying, in those days, Georgetown Public Hospital did over 1,200, but it is still too high. No person should lose a toe. No person should lose a night on the TV. And it used to say, it's 7 o'clock. Have you checked your feet yet? Because most of us don't check our throughout the day, not only when they bathe. But most of us don't check our feet. I will demonstrate, right? You don't watch your feet. For a diabetic, that is deadly. You can't, during that time, whilst you're watching the TV, check your feet. Lead to amputation. We are addressing these issues. Today, it's the Children's Day. Today, we'll make sure that even if they come late, they will get to walk around. And I'll take my seat now by asking Mr. Ramnarayan for a favor. One day, Mr. Ramnarayan, invite some of the parents, invite some of the children, let them come and have breakfast or lunch, breakfast and lunch that are prepared. Teach them in our food lab how to prepare our juices and so that they are healthy and they are nice. So good luck all of you. I look forward to working with you, and I look forward to Camp 2024. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, Ms. Beaton, we have Ms. Gladys Beaton here from the Diabetic Association. I know she came. She was running a little bit. Yeah.
It's for GSA. Yeah, GSA. And the Diabetic Association, along with Insulin for Life, we would like to donate this with 2,000 plus strips for you to utilize.
170 students that we would use it. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ms. Beaton. This actually goes hand in hand with the nationwide screening that we want to encourage to happen.
Creating this activity for us, the first of its kind. And to Dr. Ramsamy, yes, Camp 2024 will happen. In fact, the team, so to Ms. Glennis Beaton, and for her continued support, even though she does come at us when she, but she is, no, she's still looking very happy, even though she in this for a long time. And I know that she will continue to support us. My team for arranging all of this in the Farm Day activity. I know all the logistics that was involved. I'm sorry that some of our parents is not here with us as yet, but and to our other partnering NGO, the Save Abby.